welcome to our new episode of Culture Champions. Today with us, we have Manisha Yadav. She has decades of experience in the HR field and has managed various roles in various organizations. It's my privilege to have this podcast with her. Hello, Manisha. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. Can I quickly request you to introduce yourself to our audience?
All right. Thank you, Sureka, for inviting me. Thank you. And yeah, a quick introduction. Like Sureka has already mentioned, have executed various roles. Only the change is not in various organization, one single organization. So this is Manisha Yadav. I'm a human resource expert, basically with an experience of over 3.5 decades in IT industry and in various domains and functions. So having said that, BOT has been my expertise, which is build, operate, and transfer. So I was quite instrumental in building new business verticals in the organization and then transferring it into the mainstream. Having tried my hands on everything, HR is where I found my heart in and led the organization for to an exponential growth from around 100 to 600 people in a decade experience. And then I'm back to business now. So this is a small snapshot on my professional journey. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Manisha, for sharing that. And let's get to a list of questions that I have to ask you so that you can share based on your experience that you had in the business and in the space of HR. What do you think has changed in recruitment over the last decade?
Lot. So if I remember, I started hands-on recruitment when I used to head the Bombay business, so which was in I think 2003, 2004. And I remember it was very nice. You get a profile quickly. People used to join on board. And gradually, where we used to have like 10 profiles and one position, the ratio has been changing now. And of course, it's becoming more challenging, right? So portals, the sourcing strategies have changed. There are multiple ways how profiles are selected and sourced basically from the recruitment team or the vendors who are there. And I maybe I mean the wrong word of choices, but the onboarding ratio, the offers to onboarding ratio is reducing day by day, whatever the reasons may be. But yes, the challenges in recruitment have increased given the dynamics and the volatility that we have in the businesses nowadays.
So, since you also mentioned that, a lot of processes and systems are more in place right now, and there are a lot of AI tools also that recruiters use to help screen candidates or source CVs which are optimally suitable for that organization. But while we are in the process of using machines for that, do you think that the human element or the human touch in recruitment is missing?
However, automation comes in place, I think, in HR specifically. And when I say HR, I talk about end to end, right from your acquisition to retention and to exit. So, end to end HR. Tools will play the role where it has to be, but the human touch cannot go away from at least this fraternity.
Hmm.
While in talent acquisition, automation will help you to screen profiles, etc. But the fact remains that there is a lot of chances that you may miss on a really good profile. And the reason behind this is when it comes any tool, there is a prescribed, like because I come from technical background, there's a configuration that happens in that tool. You use certain words. Today, Indian candidates, if you look at their profiles, they are they may some may lack some good people may lack having that structured resume,
Hmm.
having those correct words in their profile. I mean, today also, if there are, I know. Once I was doing recruitment from one of our international candidate customer, and they rejected the profile, though the profile was good, and it took me a lot of effort to convince the client. So he said, like, Manisha, someone who is not serious about the spell checks, the grammar, the way you write your resume, can that person be good at the job?
Correct.
Now, then that can customer while talking to me, okay, if I'm doing a AR screening on the profile, and if that profile gets missed because the correct words are not there or the related words are not there, which you have not configured in your tool.
Correct.
So a little bit of screening, I think, by an individual recruiter on the profile
Hmm.
may help, or you may miss on a right candidate, and candidate may miss on the right position.
Absolutely. I think you summed that really well, that either the organization will miss out on the right candidate, or the candidate will lose an opportunity to grow in his professional career. I really like the way you summed that up. Since you have been both in the space of business and HR, and you've done a lot of recruitment, so keeping that in perspective, what is it that the Indian or the international, or any candidate looks at when they are looking for a job other than compensation?
Compensation, of course, is a lot of times it plays a key role. But yes, trends are changing.
Hmm.
There was a time when compensation used to be the key. Especially people have this perception that if I'm in one organization for a very long time, my financial growth is stuck.
Hmm.
But I think I rather say it the other way around. If you are not able to show your value, what value you get to the table is what decides your compensation after a certain time. I'm not saying in the first 7 to 10 years of your profession, but beyond a decade and a half of experience, I'm sure when somebody is hiring also, he looks at what the candidate is bringing to the table,
Correct.
not about what you were doing for 15 years,
Hmm.
right? So if you are not able to actualize your experience, then anyway, so yes, this is one part. Now the more is about my own growth. What is how is the organization, you know they care about their own growth, they care about their work life balance, they care about the culture, they care about the environment, and everything. Basically, how does a organization treat me as an individual? I think that is what is becoming gradually. Yes, money will always be there, but
Correct.
it may not play the only reason for people joining you.
Great. What do you think organizations must communicate or align with candidates before or during the hiring process?
During the hiring process, I think bringing clarity in the role, the expectations is extremely important. It's very easy to define a job description, that this candidate is expected to do this. But what exactly does it mean? Are
Hmm.
we both aligned is very important, because what I expect and what the candidate has understood could have a misalignment.
Correct.
So I think it's very I don't know whether I should mention, but I was just having a conversation with somebody some 1 or 2 hours back, and that lady, like, he said, I'm not happy. What do I do? I said, first of all, you find a reason why you're not happy, right? Are you not liking the job? I'm doing these things, but they're not giving you promotion. I said, see, listen, first of all, I think You have to be very clear as to when you're asking for a promotion. So same thing applies to a candidate. When you're looking at a change in job profile, am I ready for that?
Okay.
I may not have done that role, but do I have the competence to deliver what you want? So a conversation that, like from the candidate side also, if they are able to show what they are bringing to the table which adds value to the business, and at the same time the hiring, the employer, prospect employer should be very clear about not only setting expectations but also understanding what do they need to support the candidate to be successful. I
Hmm.
think a lot of time we expect everything from the people, but when it comes to supporting them in real life, that is where the challenge is. So asking for support, soliciting that support, and giving that support. It's it's a two-way relationship, okay? So any relationship needs an investment. So both of them has to invest. It can't work one-sided. So that's where HR needs to function.
But one last question that I want you to leave our audience with is that if anybody wants to join the field of HR, what are the key prerequisites which you think are essential for them?
All right. So first, I think ask yourself whether you want to become a good HR or a great HR. Because human resource is now no more a support function.
Hmm.
And that's the biggest change of mindset every HR, every person who's aspiring to be a HR has to remember. Okay. Um, I mean, policies, yes, you require a framework. You remember that. It can be a guidelines, but you can't stick people with that.
Hmm.
For example, today I think most of my example could relate to IT industry because that's where I have spent my life. So when we started, when you're catering a domestic customer, it's very easy to say you need to come at 9 o'clock in office and go at 5:30. Okay, that's very easy to implement. Today, IT industry, we are 24 by 7.
Absolutely.
We cater globally. Now your 9 to 5 is not able, you will not be able to work with, correct? Because you have to respect that employee has a personal life. Be flexible.
Hmm.
And that I think being flexible, being agile to the environment, understanding the business how it runs, it is extremely important to understand. And this is where I feel lot of HR, don't get that at times.
Okay.
So most of the HRs, when it comes exit, oh, people are leaving for salary. No, they're not leaving for salary. They're leaving for a lot of things. So that's where the change is. You have to make workplace fun. You have to make workplace such that people should be every day they should come with the energy, not saying, "Oh God, I have to go to work." I mean, when an employee comes with this thought, you get your signals then.
Correct.
So that's where HR again. There is a lot of change in how HR needs to function. You have to be ready to, yes, you are there for people, definitely there, but you are equally there for the organization.
Thank you.
So I mean, this is a very bigger topic about HR as a profile, as a career really, because people oriented, it's not easy because you're I mean, where while you are here to support the business and enable the business, at the same time you are doing it through people, where one size doesn't fit all. So your behavior, the way you deal with people will change depending on their aspiration, the age bracket, their personal aspirations, goals, everything.
Correct.
So you have to be so agile when you deal with people.
Hmm.
It can't be that, okay, this is how it will run, do it. No, that's not the way HR will function. HR needs to function. So if you function that way, then you're a good HR. You're not a great HR.
So So I remember, Manisha, when we first spoke, this was one of the
Yeah.
first questions you asked me that, Surekha, do you want to be a good HR or a great HR for people to remember you? And this is something that I've always kept in the back of my mind through my career span. And I really enjoyed talking to you and learning from your experiences. Thank you so much for joining in on this podcast. If you're excited to know more about candidate and employee engagement, do reach out to us at leaponboard.com.